very excited to get everyone together. So I'm very proud to be a part of what Impact is doing and what the Cannabis Nurses Association, Grow for Vets, Patients Alliance. This is huge for us because there's a lot of bills, as we all know, that are introduced to legislator from year to year, and it affects the patients and the people of the state. So we need to encourage the direction and how that impacts the families and the patients that are affected by these regulations, such as like a 70% cap. There's a lot of patients that are ill in a higher place where they need to get a higher concentrate, and they need more access. They need to be able to go into these dispensaries and purchase a higher concentrate so it can effectively help them alleviate their illnesses, for say. So again, there's a bunch of illnesses that we're there for. There's a lot of bills that are up, and there's a lot of causes that we're supporting, and we want to get everyone's mindset in the state and make sure that everyone's voice is heard. For one, it's important that each and everyone that has an opinion or a cause to follow one of these bills, that your voice is heard. So this is why we work so hard, and I give my hats off to Nicole and all these organizations. We work daily, put thousands of hours of time a year into advocating for cannabis and for patients, and I just would really like to thank everyone that's here today and encourage everyone to speak freely and speak forward. We're going to be broadcasting this live, and we're also going to be presenting it in future recordings to go forward. So if you have something against being recorded, please let us know prior to you coming up here. Please try to speak as clearly as possible. I hope I'm doing that as well for you guys. But most importantly, get your message out, because we're going to be pushing this to as many people as we can, getting as many people there on Tuesday to advocate. In our magazine that we just published, we have the encouragement to call Susana Martinez's cabinet. We provided the phone number in there. We want people to know and be aware of what you guys really want an impact in these laws, what you guys want to see change. So a lot of these laws sometimes are going more toward how access is for these producers and for other influences in the industry, like edibles and stuff, but the real true impact is the patients and how that affects us and our families. So that's why we're here today. I don't know in what order that we're presented to go in, but I would like to just go ahead and pass on the torch to the next speaker, because some of the attendees for Tuesday are not here today, but we're just going to go through and introduce as many people as we can to this industry. So once again, thank everyone for being here, and thank you for being part of such a great movement and making sure change is effective. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Monique Chavez. I'm the Executive Director of Mexico Normal, and this is Chris Leonard. He's our Deputy Director.
Hi guys.
So we just got started, I think our official paperwork came in December. So what we are here for is we represent Normal, and Normal's the oldest grassroots lobbying group around. They've been around since I believe 1970. And their mission statement is to move public opinion sufficiently to legalize the responsible use of marijuana by adults, and to serve as an advocate for consumers to assure they have access to high quality marijuana that is safe, convenient, and affordable. So what that means to us is a lot of things. It doesn't just mean that we want to make sure that our medical program is safe, but we want to make sure that people are able to consume what they want when they want. And basically, that includes a medical program, so that by no means that we are opposed to what's going on with the medical program, and we want to ensure that that stays intact when we do legalize here in New Mexico, because that's going to happen, and it's going to happen shortly, hopefully. So what we did today is organize a Citizens Lobby Day, and Normal is doing this across the country. I believe over 30 or 40 chapters are going to be doing a Citizens Lobby Day throughout the current sessions that are going on now. And then, so Chris is just going to talk a little bit about how the Lobby Day today will work. And yeah, that's us at Normal.
Basically, if you have a flyer, you can see at 9 a.m. we're going to go over lobby training for anybody that would be interested in showing up early to go over maybe, is that 10:30?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just.
Oh, okay. Let's see, twice. So it's going to be at 10:30, excuse me. But if you want to go over like how to approach a state representative about cannabis and laws and stuff like that, there'll be people that we can talk to and go over stuff like that. So we encourage everybody to show up early if they want to meet us around 10:30. I think we'll be there around 9. So if anybody wants to talk to us before that, that would be great. Thank you.
And then we'll be actually getting into small groups to go lobby throughout the roundhouse from 11 to 2. So anybody who's interested in doing that with us, you don't have to stay the whole time. If you'd only like to do a couple interviews, these are issues that you guys care about. These are issues that they need to know about. So you need to talk to your legislators and let them understand why we're here and why we got this whole day dubbed just for us, and to make sure that people are aware that cannabis isn't just here, it's a medicine and it's not going away, you know. So we appreciate you guys being here today, and thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
And I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner, and I have a private practice where I refer patients with mostly PTSD to the cannabis program, as well as severe chronic pain. And I have a caseload of about 600 patients, and over the time I've been practicing, I discovered quite by accident that my patients with PTSD and pain have told me that with cannabis they were able to quit using opiates. And this became bigger and bigger, and then I started consulting my colleagues, and they indeed were finding out the same thing. So in April, I decided to start a petition to allow opiate dependence become a qualifying condition for medical cannabis, and the good news is that it was approved by the medical board. The bad news is that it hasn't been signed yet. The person who is the head of the Department of Health is a Susana Martinez appointee. So what we're going to need is a lot of pressure on her to sign this. What we've done and what I've gone ahead and done above and beyond what I've done with New Mexico is I have helped out the states of Maine, New Jersey, New York, and Oregon and Arizona, because they are all petitioning their medical board to approve opiate dependence for qualifying conditions for cannabis. I'm also being published in the American Cannabis Nurses Association journal next month. So the word is out. My petition is something like 25 pages long, 21 pages of extremely exhaustive research proving that cannabis works to help quit opiates and to help maintain sobriety. So the petition is free for anyone. It's not copyrighted. If you want a copy of it that you need to share with someone, please email me. And I will be presenting this at the Capitol on Tuesday. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you to Nicole and Anthony with Kerple Magazine for helping organize in this great event. My name is Brett Phelps, and I am currently a law student at the University of New Mexico School of Law, where I am our chapter leader for Students for Sensible Drug Policy, SSDP. And what SSDP does, we're an international network of students who have recognized that the war on drugs has failed our society and our generation of young people. And so we empower young people to get involved in the political process and to affect change in their own communities. And that's what brings us as SSDP out here today. We have a group of law students, undergraduates, high school students that are all here ready to meet with our legislators, talk to them about these issues, and make it something that they can no longer ignore. Right? It's only by the power of us being here that we're able to affect this change and make these kind of things happen. And so I'm so excited to see all of you here today. It's amazing to see all these people that deeply care about this important issue. And I'm excited to go talk to some legislators with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Morales, the Executive Director of New Mexico Impact. It's New Mexico Empowering Medical Patients and Compassionate Treatments. It's a local founded patient organization focused on bringing strength and awareness to the medical cannabis program. We plan 4 quarterly events throughout the year, mainly focused on and highlighting the medical conditions of the New Mexico Medical Cannabis Program. We are also conducting a Carriers and Leap Summit to help educate and introduce the community awareness that resonates beyond the medical cannabis program alone. At the same time, we've been working on getting patients' card renewals at a free or discounted cost, which is fulfilling to pay it forward and assist the few handfuls we've already helped. I would also like to conclude that with the disclosure that New Mexico Impact is not founded, funded, associated, or partnered to any LMPP, producer, business, medical provider, or any other group entity. We're a strict grassroots patient organization led by patients, built by patients who are affirmative about our actions surrounding the program. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and thank you again, everybody who's been involved in this industry for so many years before me. Thank you for being here.
Hello, and thank you for coming today. My name is Gina Lucero. I'm a registered nurse. I'm also the president of the Grow for Vets New Mexico chapter. I brought Grow for Vets from Colorado to New Mexico because I needed to be able to provide a nonprofit organization for our veterans here in our local community. As a registered nurse, I've been noticing a significant amount of need for veterans in the cannabis program. Grow for Vets in Colorado has given almost $1 million worth of cannabis free to their veterans. Of course, that is a little bit of a challenge here in a medical state. I can't give cannabis for free from the dispensaries right now because the plant counts are so low. There's not an adequate supply to start a free cannabis program here in New Mexico. So what we've done is we've recreated the wheel a little bit, and we've started offering free cannabis medical cards to our veterans. We have local providers that are donating their time and services to do evaluations on our veterans. With that, they've been able to get and obtain their medical cannabis cards. We had 2 events this past month, and we were able to get 43 veterans their appointments with the providers, and we're hoping that that will continue moving forward, that we can have at least one event per month, and we can start adding more patients to the program. The Department of Health has also approved me to establish patient banks at the local dispensaries utilizing fundraising through Grow for Vets New Mexico. So our goal for 2017 is to raise $250,000 and apply and disperse those funds to local dispensaries so veterans with their medical cannabis cards can go and get their medicine for free. So thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Waddell, and I'm the president of the Patients Alliance with New Mexico. We're basically patients helping patients since 2012. Many of you have asked me for more of a political stance with the Alliance, and this year we've tried to fill the seats with patients wearing the Yellow Alliance shirts. We've attended public hearings all over the state, and we've voiced our concerns for the medical program. We're living in exciting times right now in New Mexico. Things are about to get a lot easier for us with the legislative sessions. Patients holding personal production licenses are looking at having their plant count increased. And additionally, we're going to be permitted to put out 18 plants in flower and keep our summer harvests. Co-ops are a new development for those who need help with their grows so that they can have their own medicine. Additionally, dispensaries are going to have an increase in their plant count as well, so that those of you who do not want to grow can still have their quality medicine. In the last year, though, the Alliance has gone a little bit different, in a different direction than earlier MCPA members. We've helped patients in the program and others that are not yet in the program become patients. Also, we've helped the homeless and the less fortunate with our signature event since December. By having this event, we've helped at least 15 families this year have a better Christmas with donations of toys, coats, and clothing. And I would like to thank all of the 25 dispensaries that helped us this year to be able to accomplish our goals. Hopefully we can work more closely with the Albuquerque Center for Peace and Justice, as well as with these dispensaries in the coming months. Come to our meetings on the third Tuesday of the month right here at the Baca Center from 6 to 8. This month's meeting, however, will be held at the Roundhouse in Santa Fe from around 11 to 3. Please join us there and let your voice be heard.
Hello, I am Rachel Benari. I am a registered nurse within the state of New Mexico. I'm up here with Gina, as you know, with Grow for Vets. We are part of the American Cannabis Nurses Association. We started a local meetup here in New Mexico, not quite yet a charter, but that is what we're working towards, and the whole mission of the ACNA, the reason why it was created, because there's a gap between cannabis use and patients and guidance. So the whole idea is to provide advocacy, collaboration between peers and each other in the community, education on evidence-based research on cannabis, and policy development, which is why we're here today.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joel White. I am a medical cannabis patient. I joined the program in 2010. And what I intend to talk about at the Roundhouse next week is my journey from my debilitating diagnosis through my emotional and physical struggles, and then as I moved along in life, when I discovered the cannabis program, how long it took me to become comfortable with it. Because my background was very much anti-drug. I didn't have any information about that. I didn't drink wine until I was 40 years old. I didn't try cannabis until I was 45. And I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 1989, and I struggled for a couple of years. The first 2 years after my diagnosis, I basically just kind of waited to die. I had young children, I had a new wife. I felt like my life was pretty much over. Everything had failed. I really had nothing else to look forward to. I kind of languished in that, let that fester in my life for a couple years, and then for some reason I didn't die. And so then I had to kind of readjust what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And so I was able to find a way to manage my pain, manage my discomfort, to move forward and to develop a career and support my family. But it was always difficult. It was always hard. I had dealt with a lot of fatigue, a lot of balance issues, visual issues, not being able to see very well, not being able to drive. In 2008, I was going through a couple, I kind of had two really bad exacerbations, almost back to back, one in October and another one in December. And during that time, I discussed the possibility of cannabis. Let's just call it a friend of mine not necessarily my son. I'm not going to say that at the Roundhouse. But a friend of mine gave me some cannabis. I'd never had it, never used it, didn't know what to do with it, had no background, no familiarity at all. Gave me some and said, the New Mexico Lynn and Aaron Compassionate Use Act has been signed into law in New Mexico. One of the approved conditions is multiple sclerosis, and you should really try this because it might really help. Well, at that time, I still was very much stigmatized by everything that I've been taught as a child, as I moved through life. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And so I took that little jar of cannabis and I stuck it in the back of my closet, covered it up with some clothes. That way the feds would never be able to find it. And I just was kind of fearful of it. So I didn't really want to do anything with it, but it started me thinking. And so what I started to do at that point, and this is about in late 2008, I started going online and I started looking at research, looking at information, looking at studies, anything that I thought was valid that would provide information for me to make a good conscientious decision about my own medical treatment. And I didn't look at .com sites, I only looked at .orgs, .govs, and .edus because I thought they were the least biased. And what I found through this process was that everything that I had been told since I was a child was not true. And it's, you know, kind of a shock, but I guess it happens where we get a lot of information that's not completely accurate. I would call it alternative facts nowadays. Anyway, as I came out of my exacerbation, and really it lasted for a couple months, and then was feeling better for a while, I still was reluctant to try cannabis. But at that point, in my mind, I knew that it was a safe and effective potential treatment for me. I just had never tried it. So I didn't really know, but I wasn't quite ready to stick my toe into the well. So at the end of December 2009, I was having an exacerbation, relatively minor compared to the others before, but still very uncomfortable, hard to sleep, difficulty staying comfortable, just feeling like there's bugs crawling all over my legs and arms. And it was in December, it was cold, I was feeling kind of funky, I was feeling kind of depressed, and I said to my wife, I said, what the heck, I want to try this. I just want to know, does this work or does it not work? I just want to know. I don't care one way or the other, I just want to know. And so, although I had no experience, my wife had a little experience in high school, so she helped me out. So she figured out how to roll a joint. I didn't know how to do it. So she did it, she rolled this joint, got coats on, we went outside on the balcony of our house, which is in the front of the house, unfortunately. We're out there, hunkered down behind the wall, and trying to light this damn joint, and I'm afraid I'm gonna burn my face, but anyway, I get the thing lit, and I take a couple puffs, I gag and cough. I'm not used to smoking, I'm hacking and wheezing, but I'm determined, I'm gonna get this into my system. I wanna know, yes or no, does it work? About 4 or 5 hits, I finally had enough in me that I think I really had something. Went inside because it was cold, took off my coat, and then I just stood there. And I just looked around and was just like, I'll be damned. This really works. This really works. And so I started walking around the house. I'm like, I can articulate ideas. I have balance. I'm not slurring my speech. The colors in here are amazing. I was just like, wow, this is really amazing. And so at that moment, I realized that this is an effective medicinal treatment for multiple sclerosis. And from that moment, I decided I needed to be a strong advocate. I'm a business professional. I'm not the typical profile of somebody that you see advocating for cannabis, but I knew that I needed to be an important part of that because cannabis was potentially something that could dramatically change my life. Right after that, I had my last MRI. Basically, neurologist said, Joel, it looks like you've got some moderate progression, not too bad. I would recommend that we put you on Copaxone at that time. I'd already done research. I looked at Beta-Seron, Avonex, Copaxone was one of them. And I was informed enough at that point that as an advocate for my own medical treatment, I could have a discussion with my neurologist. My neurologist said, well, Joel, I think that we should put you on Copaxone. I said, I've read a lot of research about cannabis. What do you think about cannabis? He said, well, I think cannabis isn't effective, and it's a treatment that I do recommend for my patients. However, I like to go with a specific MS drug at least for a couple years and see how it works out before prescribing cannabis. And I'm like, well, why? What's the point of that? And he said, well, if you take Copaxone for a couple years, there's a possibility that you'll have one less exacerbation every 18 to 24 months. It's like, okay. Now, what's the Copaxone look like? Well, Copaxone, I already knew this, I just wanted to see if he's going to say it. Copaxone is a shot. It's a subdermal shot you have to give yourself every single day, so 7 shots a week. You have to give it to yourself in 7 different parts of your body so that you don't cause bruising and infection if you give yourself a shot in the same spot. He said it stings like a bee sting. So I was gonna give myself a shot that feels like a bee sting for the rest of my life so that I could avoid maybe 4 to 6 weeks of discomfort every couple of years. And I just thought that the cost-benefit analysis just did not work for me. And oh, by the way, Copaxone at that time, it's probably more now, but at that time it cost $3,000 a month, $36,000 a year. So I decided, I told him that I wanted to try cannabis first and see how it works. He said, well, Joel, you can make your own decisions about your medical treatment. I recommend you do Copaxone first, but if that's what you want to do, you can do it. The dilemma was, in 2010, it was extremely hard to find a doctor that would recommend cannabis. I went to my first doctor, and I was with Loveless at the time. My primary care doctor, talked to him, he said, Joel, I really do believe that cannabis would be very effective for your condition with the multiple sclerosis that you have right now. And I said, great, sign me up. And he said, unfortunately, Loveless will not let us sign or advocate for any medical cannabis use. So I said, okay, and I promptly changed to Presbyterian. And even Presbyterian was reluctant, but I was able to find a doctor somewhere else that had never treated me before. I had to get all my records, take them to this other doctor, have her review. She looked at it, she said, you're a textbook case for this. You need to be in this program. I got into the program, and once I got into the program, I started looking for other ways that I could advocate for people like me that are having trouble, they're suffering in the dark on their own without any assistance, and I know that this is effective. And so I got involved. I started talking on the radio. I was on television. I've talked to newspapers. I've talked with the Legislative Finance Committee. I've talked to several senators and several representatives about this because it's very important, and I know that there are a lot of other people out there that are going to be listening at the Rotunda that are coming from the same kind of place that I did, very reluctant to get involved with something that they consider to be a drug, an illicit drug. And they need to hear from somebody that I'm a responsible citizen in New Mexico. I pay a lot of taxes to the state of New Mexico, and the reason I can pay a lot of taxes to the state of New Mexico is because I have a high quality of life, even though I have multiple sclerosis, and here I am.
How's it going?
Hey everyone, my name is Alex Lucero. This is Billy Hiron. We're with the CBD Boutique. We got started in about mid-2014 selling products that contain hemp extracts. There's a lot of controversy between hemp and cannabis and effectiveness. But we were able to source out some of the highest quality products that we were able to come across. So since we got started, we went in with the knowledge that cannabis does help with conditions. We've observed it personally through our own lives. We've observed it from other friends, family, acquaintances. So with what we were providing, we had a solid understanding that we were going to put our name behind the product lines that we carried because they did work. So what we've been able to observe since the time that we opened up is we've been able to allow people to experience cannabis in an extremely new way, not getting high. Through this ability to provide the products that we do, the THC content is below 0.3%, which meets the guidelines for the federal hemp farming bill that got passed in 2014. allowing interstate commerce, or actually allowing certain states to begin producing hemp, which had been outlawed for the longest time, since the 30s. Start beginning to produce hemp, which does not produce the amount of THC that marijuana does. Through this, it deregulates the DEA from enforcing any type of like removal or controlled substance laws for those states that meet those guidelines. Now, with that said, we've been able to observe people who've been against cannabis for their entire lives, still under the same education that they've been brought up since they were children, begin to start using cannabis from the avenue that we provide, and begin getting results. High amounts of CBD helps with anti-inflammatory disorders and issues. It helps with anxiety, and enables people like Joel White, who just presented, to try cannabis in a non-scary way and get the results, and then move forward and experiment.
Yeah, it's basically what we've noticed is it's a great bridge for people that aren't as knowledgeable or are thinking about getting into the cannabis industry or world, trying it out. It's a great bridge. You know, you don't have to have a car to come in. We have very knowledgeable staff, very comfortable environment, and we believe in our hearts we're providing the best quality over some competition or other outlets you can find these products, and that's what we really believe in. So it's just a great bridge to get into it if you're not familiar with it.
And there's several different types of these hemp extracts that are available on the market. To begin with, there's CBD isolate, which is a single cannabinoid isolated into a substance. There are benefits to CBD just by itself, but as we've progressed through the months and years that we've been around now, we've now observed that that's not the best way to do this. Isolating single cannabinoids is not as effective as the whole plant by itself. So that's where we specialized in. We specialize in providing the most effective methods for using these products for day-to-day cases. So that ended up leading into working with some of the highest producers out of Colorado. To note, one of them is Haley's Hope. It's a company that has perfected the production of hemp to a science. They've gone out and found specific strains of hemp that can produce ratios of cannabinoids that are beneficial, all while being under the 0.3 THC limit. And the results from that product alone has changed hundreds of thousands of lives across the country. Its biggest focus in getting started was epilepsy. With the product that they produced, they blended it and perfected each and every batch to be replicable from one to another. It doesn't matter if it came from hemp that was produced 3 months ago or yesterday, the product's going to be the exact same. And with this, they've taken that science even further out in Colorado to produce a product that is an immediate seizure relief or rescue remedy that is nasally sprayed and will stop a seizure immediately. These are methods that we don't have access to because of the THC content. But on that, the hemp industry outside of just CBD alone has ways to grow past just a single compound, a single plant strain. There's ways that they can extract the other cannabinoids and learn to understand it and develop other products that can be as effective. We're in a position, though, in New Mexico that hemp cannot be produced. It is looked at in the same sense that marijuana is federally illegal. It makes no sense, but it is what it is. So we continue on with what we're doing, the best that we have. But allowing hemp alone to be produced here in New Mexico would not only allow access to medical studies, but also industrial studies for materials, for fiber, for construction materials, fuel, resources, feed, livestock. There's so many different uses for just a single strain or a single type of cannabis that we are limiting ourselves on. We're no longer allowed to study it here and begin new research and leading research for a plant that can change so many lives. So that's pretty much all we've got to say. So we hope you enjoy.
Okay, so my name is Patsy Pell again. I just started working with New Mexico Impact with Nicole, but I've been around the industry for about 7 years now. It all started with my father. He's a disabled vet, suffers from PTSD and chronic pain. And before cannabis, he was taking almost 40 pills a day. He was a zombie, like, that wasn't my father, but cannabis, it completely changed his life, and I just, like, want to be an advocate for this because I've seen it work firsthand, and it's amazing what it can do, and it's just, I don't know, like, recently I've seen stories of doctors prescribing opioid painkillers to children the ages of 11 to 16. Those were the pills my father was on, and I don't want to see the nation's youth having to suffer because of dumb mistakes that our doctors are making. As doctors, we want to trust them, and I just want to get the word out that cannabis is something that works, and on Tuesday I'll be covering the subject more, so see everyone there.
Hello everybody, my name is Francina Martinez. I'm with the Epilepsy Support and Education Services. Well, I have epilepsy, but let me tell you about our organization. We are a nonprofit organization here in Albuquerque, and we support everybody who has epilepsy and the family members. We support anybody who takes, if you have brain surgery, Western medicine, if you take the BNS, if you take cannabis, CBD oil, whatever, we support you on anything that you do. But I take everything. And basically, Western medicine isn't working for me. I have, it's a really long name, but it's called medical resistance epilepsy with tonic-clonic seizures. Basically, my medicine will be good for about a year, and then it goes adios, and I have about the last 4 months I had 16 seizures. And it's not nice, it's not fun. So I take CBD oil in the morning, and I take it for lunch, and then I take it at night before I go to bed. But I also take cannabis at night because I have chronic insomnia. And the majority of my seizures are in my frontal lobe, so everybody knows what the frontal lobe does, right? It messes with your emotions, and so you have to sleep. And one of my triggers is if I don't sleep, I have a seizure. So I need that little bit of THC to put me to sleep. So I'm very thankful for the cannabis because I was put on Klonopin, and I don't want to be addicted to that. I don't, because it messes up with my memory, which my seizures already mess up with my memory already. And I love speaking. I love going out to the public. I do outreach. And so the cannabis helps me to wake up in the morning instead of waking up and having handfuls of pills 3 times a day. I like waking up in the morning and just putting my drops in the morning of my CBD oil and having my CBD honey with my tea every single morning, and voila, that's my day. And only taking my pills at night and my cannabis at night to make me go to sleep, I'm good. And my seizures are very minimal. and I'm very content with that. I had 3 years of having 16 to 18, maybe to 20 seizures on a good day for 3 years. Excuse me, for 3 years. I was in a coma for a week because I was allergic to Depakote. We found out that a lot of seizure meds and psych meds have a side effect of anger. And because I have frontal lobe damage because of my epilepsy, I can't have that. So, and we found out that because of cannabis, it makes you happy. And because of me, I need to be happy. Haha.
Hungry, happy, sleepy.
Well, because of my epilepsy, that's one of my triggers, is emotions. I can't get angry and I can't get too excited because I'll have a grand mal seizure. So I want the best for everybody. I want you guys to be happy. I want you guys to be healthy, mentally and physically. So for the epilepsy support and education services, it doesn't matter what you take, brain surgery, VNS, Western medicine, cannabis, we just want basically you to be healthy. And for me, that's what I want for everybody else. So that's what I want. And one more thing, we have a walk the last Saturday of March. I hope to see everybody there. So, thank you.
My name is Dominic Cordova, and I'm here representing Bang Cannabis Products. We actually started here in New Mexico. People may know us from California, but we actually got started here in Albuquerque in about 2007, beginning of 2008. We originally started as a chocolate company back in 2001 in Taos, New Mexico, and we actually still sell our chocolates and gelato here in Albuquerque and Santa Fe and other various outlets, northern New Mexico as well. So in about 08 or so, we went out to California, started dosing our chocolate, same great real chocolate with cannabis, and we've now evolved into vaporizer pens, as well as 11 different flavors of chocolate. We've recently started working with CBD products, so we do chewing gum, CBD mouth spray, we do candy, hard candy rather, we do syringes. There's a gentleman there with our CBD mouth spray.
Product placement.
But we've also started a secondary company called Derived to meet New Mexico's growing needs. Bang, as a corporation, we're out in several states: California, Arizona, New Mexico, Las Vegas, Washington, formerly Colorado, that's where I was making chocolate, and also Michigan. We've developed Derived, another company to sell the syringes, to sell the hard candy, to meet the needs of the patients, since Bang only does the chocolate and the vaporizer pens and limited on CBD products. It's just more of a marketing scenario with that, but our Derived CBD will make sure that we offer full spectrum and isolate, not just the isolate, which is what brought Bang into the CBD realm. So appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our schedule for today. We hope to see everybody on the 21st at the New Mexico State Capitol. We have a few more guests coming in from down south and El Paso, so we'll have a long lineup for you, and we will be out there from 8:30 to 9:40 on the podium, and also our tables are off to the side, the west part of the rotunda. Thank you so much. The only one thing I wanted to leave you with